Yeah, okay, guys. So let's get started. I think the others aren't available today. So in the last session, guys, we were talking about the networking fundamentals. We've covered what basic IP addresses are, IPv4 addresses. So again, we talked about networking, what are networks, what are hosts. Then we tried understanding IPv4 addresses. What are the properties of IPv4 addresses? What are the range of IPv4 addresses? What's the first IP? And what's the last IP? And then we talked about the sequence of IPs. In today's class, we're going to talk about the different classifications. Okay. So what are classes? What are the ranges? And what is the relevance of each class? Why do we have five separate classes? Why not just one single class with some public and private IPs? Okay. So before that, let me specify these ranges, guys. Okay. As mentioned, these are fixed ranges. These are constant. They have been defined by the people who invented IP addresses itself, and they're going to remain constant for the as long as IP addresses exist. Okay, so class A starts at the first IP 0000, and class E ends at the last IP 255, 255, 255, 255. So the entire range of IP addresses are divided in these five separate classes. Okay. Now there's an easy trick to remember these ranges, guys. You have to remember only these four numbers: 127, 191, 223, and 239. From these four numbers, you get the entire table itself. Okay. So class A starts from 0 and goes all the way up to 127, 255, 255, 255. Since it's ending at 127, class B starts at 128. So all the 255s cycle back to zeros, and the leftmost octet increments by 1. So 127 goes to 128. Now, therefore, class B starts at 128,000 and goes up to 191, 255, 255, 255. Now, since this is ending at 191, class C starts at 192. From 192,000, this goes all the way up to 239, 255, 255, 255. Since it is ending at 239, class B starts at 224. From 224,000, it goes all the way up to 239, 255, 255, 255. Since it's ending at 239, class E starts at 240. And from 240, it goes all the way up to 255, 255, 255, 255. That's the last IPv4 address. Okay. Now, in each of these classes, again, there are two subcategorizations, public and private IPs. So in class A, between 0 and 127, there's a small private IP set from 10,000 to 10,255,255,255. So any IP within this range is a private IP, which means you can use these IP addresses in your local intranets, in your home network, in your organization networks. For internal communication, you'll be using these private IPs from the class A. And any IP outside this range will be a public IP by default. So what I mean by outside is, if you take the example for class A, it starts from 0000 and goes up to 127, 255, 255, 255. So in that range, there's a smaller private IP range, 10,000 to 10,255, 255, 255. And outside this range, every other IP is public IP. So from 0 up to 10, which is 9,255, 255, 255, and after 10, from 11,000 to 127. Those are the two sets of public IPs. So in every class, there's a similar format. You have a small set of private IPs and two sets of public IPs, one on each side. Okay. So same thing happens on class B also. Between 128 and 191, there's a small subset from 172.16.00 to 172.31.255.255. That is the private IP range in class B. Any IP within that range is a private IP, and any IP outside that range is a public IP. And similarly in class C as well, between 192 and 223, there's a small subset, 192.168.00 to 192.168.255.255. Any IP within that range is a private IP. Any IP outside that range is a public IP. Okay. And in class D and class E, these are exceptions. There are no private IPs at all in class D and class E. All of them are public IPs itself. Okay, so that's about the range of IP addresses. And it's important to remember these ranges, guys, because in the upcoming sessions, when we go through a lot of log files, you'll be actually seeing these IPs. So as soon as you look at an IP, you have to figure out which IP it is, whether it's class A, B, C, or D, or E, and whether it's public or private. From that, you can figure out where the attack is initiating from. If it's a public IP, the attacker is on the internet. If it's a private IP, the attacker is in the same network as you. Okay, so it's important to remember these ranges to differentiate where the attack is coming from. Okay, now let's talk about the relevance of each of these classes. Why do we have 5 separate classes? Why not just one single class with some public and private IPs in it? So each class has a unique number of network and host portions, guys. Class A has one network portion and 3 host portions. Class B has 2 network portions and 2 host portions. Class C has 3 network portions and 1 host portion. Class D and Class E have all network portions itself. There are no host portions in them. Now, what do I mean by these network and host portions? Let's talk about that. Okay. So, oh, before that, uh, I hope there's no questions. Again, I've not explained the logic behind this. I'm going to explain that now. Okay. But again, in the previous slide, as mentioned, you just have to remember these numbers, guys. You have to remember these ranges. Okay. These are fixed numbers. Okay. They have been created by the organization which invented IP addresses, and these ranges will never change. Okay. They're constant. Okay. Now let's talk about the classes and their variations. Okay. To understand this, I'll take the example of class C first, which has 3 network portions and only 1 host portion. Okay. Now in class C, the private IP begins at 192.168.0.0. If you remember from the presentation slide earlier, class C private IP starts at 192.168.0.0. Okay. I'm going to write down the same thing in my notepad file now. Oh, shit. Yeah. So here, if you notice, I've written down the same exact IP. Class 192.168.0.0 to 192.168.255.255. Okay. Now in this address, the first 3 portions are the network portions, and the last portion is the host portion. So this 192.168.0 is the network portion, and this last octet here is the host portion. Just a second. Oh, hey Aarti. Uh, Hello. Can you hear me? Oh, Aarti, am I audible now? Can you hear me now? Okay. Anyways. Right. So as mentioned, so when we talk about class C over here, the first 3 portions are the network portions and the last portion is the host portion. So let's leave that aside and let's talk about the sequence one more time. So if this is the first IP, 192.168.0.0, what would the next IP be? You have 0.1. Next IP, 0.2. Next IP, 0.3. Next IP, 0.4. This goes all the way up to 0.255. After 0.255, what happens after that? This 255 cycles back to 0, and the next octet increases by 1. Okay, so you have 1 0 after that. Okay, oh, just a second. Right. Oh, yeah, Aarti, I hope you can hear me now. Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you now. Perfect. Oh, no problem, Aarti. I'll be sharing the recording, so you might not understand the context a bit today. So again, we have covered a few other topics earlier in the last session. So don't worry, I'll be sharing the entire recording for this. Okay, and you can understand that easily. And if you have any questions, you can let me know. I'll share my number as well. Sure. So moving on for the other students again. So this is the range we were talking about, guys. Okay. So after 0.255, then you have 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, which goes up to 1.255. Then you have 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, which goes up to 2.255. Okay. So now in the network and host portions, whenever there's a change in the host portion, it just indicates a new host. A new host is nothing but a new device. Okay. So the 0.1 could be assigned to my Wi-Fi router. 02 could be assigned to my laptop. 03 could be my smartphone. 04 could be my smartwatch. So each unique host value is assigned to a unique host. And all of these hosts belong to the same network, which is identified by the network portions. Okay. So the 192.168.0, the first three portions identify the network. So this is the 192.168.0 dot network. Okay. As long as the network portions are same, it indicates that all of these devices belong to the same network. And what does that indicate in turn? All of these devices can communicate with each other. So your Wi-Fi router can communicate with all the other devices in this network. But as soon as the network portion changes, when 0 changes to 1, that's a change in the network. So this network ends over here. And from 1, 0, we have a completely new network. Okay. So from 1, 0 to 1,255, that's a separate network. All these devices can communicate with each other. They're the 192.168.1 dot network. Okay. And this also has 255 IPs. After 1,255, when the network portion changes again, so when that 1 changes to 2, that's a divide in the network again. Okay. So wherever there's a change in the host portion, it just indicates a change in the host. Okay. So each host value is indicating or is representing a unique host. And all of these belong to the same network. And whenever there's a change in the network portion, that indicates a new network itself. So when the 0255 changes to 10, it indicates that the network is changing here. Okay. Now, these devices cannot communicate with these devices because they are from two different groups. Only devices belonging to the same group can communicate with others in the same group. They cannot communicate outside their group. Okay, so that is not again falling in the laws of networking. Okay, so a host will only communicate with other hosts if they belong to the same network. That's an important point. Okay, so even if you bring a cable and if you try connecting 1.1 to the same network as this, it cannot communicate because this network portion here is different from the network portion of the other devices. Okay, that's what the network and host portions indicate. So the significance of class C is with 3 network portions and 1 host portion. In every network, you can connect a maximum of 255 devices, not more than that. So from 00 to 0255, this is the first set of 255 IPs. And this whole thing is one single network, the 192.168.0 dot network. Then again, in the 192.168.1 dot network, you have 255 devices. 2 dot network, 255 devices. 3 dot network, 255 devices. Till the end, 192.168.255.0 to 255.255. That's the last network with again 255 devices. So in each class C network, we can connect a maximum of 255 IPs, not more than that. Okay, is that clear, everyone? Ankit, Baba Sahib, Jagdeep, Venu, VK.
Yes, sir.
Right. So that's the relevance of class C. Okay. Moving on, when we talk about class B now. So class B has
Sir,
two
I
network
have a doubt.
portions. Oh, yeah. Uh,
What if
Jagdeep,
the
please go ahead.
network zero wants to communicate with network one? What can be done for that? If we
You have
want
to
to
add a
just
router in between. So a router is a device which is capable of communicating between two different networks. Okay. So in one network, so if you have just a one singular network, what you have is a switch. Okay. So if I show you this with a with images, so this is what a network switch looks like. So in your organization, when you have multiple devices connected to each other, basically they are LAN cables running, and you have a switch like this to which all the LAN cables come and connect. Okay, so you have multiple ports on a switch again. So each, yeah, this is what it looks like. Okay, so this is a 32 port switch where you can connect 32 devices. Okay, so basically all of these devices connected to the switch are capable of communicating with each other. Okay, then you have a separate device called a router. Okay, so if you search for a network, a router is capable of connecting two different networks. Okay, so we have something like this at our home networks as well. In organizations, you have something like this. Okay, so this is capable of connecting each separate network. So in each of these ports, you'll connect one cable from a switch. Okay, and then that can the router is capable of configuring it to connect between two different networks. So you need a router for that in between, Jagdeep. Okay, is
okay,
that clear?
got it, sir. Thank you.
Right. Moving on, when you talk about class B,
So just a
you have
second.
two
One
network
second.
portions and two host portions. Oh, sorry. I think someone else was asking a question as well. Yeah, I mean,
Yes, yes. Uh, Previously, you showed me the showed us the class C, right? The
uh-huh.
network portions and host portions. Can you
Right.
go to the previous slide? There you showed me like 192.168. Do this one only. So these two numbers won't change. Always third and fourth numbers only keep changing.
Right, the first two octets will never change. That is fixed by the organization called IAM, who invented IP addresses, and they fixed that for Class C. So if you move to the slide previous to this, you remember, Class C private IP always starts from 190 to 168.0.0 and goes up to 190 to 168.255.255. So in Class C private IP, the first two octets will always be 190 to 168. Those will never change. Any IP other than that will be a public IP that you cannot use that in your local networks.
So these private IPs are like predefined, right? Any specific reason for
Yeah,
only this range?
predefined. They are fixed.
Okay, can choose. Okay, fine.
You can choose again. If you want, you can choose class A, B, or C in your network. You can choose any one of those. Okay, but you have to choose them from the same predefined ranges itself. If you're using class A private IP, it should always have 10 dot in the first octet. If you're using class B,
Yeah,
it should
yeah,
always have 172.16 or up to 172.30 in the first two octets.
yeah.
And if it's
Can't take
class
182 something like that.
No, 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 no. You can't. Those are all public IPs. So any IP outside these ranges will be public IP, and they are available only with the ISP, Internet Service Provider. And that IP will
Okay,
is something that you will see in the public IP networks. So to get
okay,
internet access, you see those IPs.
So these private IPs are like within our intranet, and they will be having a public facing public IP address. Uh, and again, if we are connected to some other network of my friend or some colleague, they will be having their own same kind of private IP addresses in their intranet with a public facing IP address, right, sir? Like
Unique
that.
public IP. Exactly. They'll have you both guys will have two unique public IPs, but you can
Yeah.
use the same private IPs in both the networks because they are completely not connected to each other. They're
Yeah.
completely independent of each
Yeah.
other. So you can use the same private IPs again and again in different networks.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it can
But
be a coincidence like I can have one private IP address, and my friend also can have the same IP address in his home network, same, but
definitely
but the public IP address will be different.
different. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So
Got it.
perfectly put.
Thanks.
Right. Okay. So that's how you can reuse the same IPs again and again because your home network and your friend's home network are not connected in any way. So there can be they can never arise a conflict because when you have to connect from your device to their device, the connection will happen on the internet and you'll have your unique public IPs, right? So private IPs can be repeated as many times as you want in all the millions and millions of homes. In my home, in your home, you can use the same private IPs because we're not connected on the private IPs. We're connected on the public IP over the internet. Okay. So
Yes,
private
sir.
IPs are only for local networks and each local network can have its own same unique private IPs. Okay. You can repeat them as well. But another point to note, in
Yeah, thank you, sir.
one singular network, no two devices will have the same private IP. Okay. If your device is getting 192.168.0.2, no other device in that network can get the same IP 192.168.0.2. That will arise to a conflict again. Okay.
Conflict. Yeah,
So two
got it, sir.
devices in the same network in the same private network will never have the same private IP. Okay. Is that clear, please?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Just a second. Hello. Guys, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Perfect. I
Sir,
could hear
one
you.
more thing, sir. I read somewhere that 172 dot something is called some pineapple network or something, right? Pineapple IP or something. Is that correct?
Pineapple. I never heard about it.
Pineapple router or pineapple network something.
That's again, there's something called a Wi-Fi pineapple. That's for Wi-Fi hacking. But there's no such thing like 172.network.
Okay, yeah.
This
So
is
there was
basically a
some there
device to
was
hack into Wi-Fi networks
yeah.
to
If your
crack
IP
Wi-Fi
address is in the
passwords.
form of some 172 dot something, it means you're in a Wi-Fi pineapple network somewhere I read it. It's okay, sir. Yeah, got it now.
Maybe it's just configuring it in a way where it is using that subnet
It,
172 or something subnet, but
yeah.
nothing as such. It is not universally known as such.
Okay, sir. Yes.
Right. Okay, moving back to this, guys, we'll talk about Class B and Class A as well. Oh, why is my screen sharing stopped? I hope my screen is visible.
It's visible, sir.
Right, perfect. Moving on to class B and classes. So when we talk about class B now, we have two networks and two host portions. Okay, so now class B starts at 172.16.0.0. Okay, same logic again. So as long as the host portion is changing, it just indicates a unique host, okay, a different device. So the first two portions here are the network portions. Last two portions here are the host portions. So after 00, you have 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, goes all the way up to 0255. After 0255, you have 10. Now, please note the network doesn't divide here because even the third octet is also a host portion. So 0255 can now freely communicate with 10. In the earlier class, it could not communicate that way. So 0255 could not communicate with 10 because the third portion was network portion. But here, that's not the case. Okay. The first two portions are networks, last two portions are host. So 0255 can now freely communicate with 10 and all the IPs after it as well. So 10.1.1.1.2.1.3.1.2.5.5, then 20.2.1.2.2.2.3 up to 2.2.5.5. All of these are still belonging to the same network up to 2.5.5.0, 2.5.5.1, 2.5.5.2, 2.5.5.3 till the end 2.5.5, 2.5.5. Now once both these octets are full, then they cycle back to zeros and then 16 changes to 17. And whenever there's a change in the network portion, the network divides over there. So when 16 changes to 17, the network is dividing here. So this is the last IP in the 172.16 network. After that, you have 17.00, which goes up to 17.255.255. Then you have 18.00, and the network divides again. Okay. From 18.00 to 18.255.255, that's the next network. 19.00 to 19.255.255, that's the next network. 20.00 to 22.55.255, that's the next network. Like that, you have the last network from 31.00 to 31.255.255. And since you have two host portions, now in each network, you can connect a maximum of 255 into 255 IPs, which is a much larger number, equivalent to 65,535 devices. In Class C, you could only connect 255 devices in one singular network. But in Class B, you can connect up to 65,000 devices approximately. Okay, and that's the relevance of Class B. So when you have a necessity of connecting more than 255 devices in a singular network, Class C will not work out there. You have to go for a higher class, Class B or Class A. Okay. So in Class B, in each network, you can connect a maximum of 255 into 255 IPs. Okay. So from 16.00 to 16.255.255 is one network. 17.0 to 17.00 to 17.255.255 is another network. 18.00 to 18.255.255 another network. And finally 31.00 to 31.255.255 last network in Class B private. So 1 second. I think someone was asking a question. Was someone asking a question, guys? Anyone?
Hello,
Ankit?
sir.
Yeah, Ankit, I can hear you.
Yes, sir. I have a doubt in this.
Yeah.
Sir, first question is, in class B, we have started the IP address from 172. Can you explain why this numbering we have changed from class A, in which we have started from 192.168?
Class C is 192.168. Class B is 172.16. So again, there's a much more in-depth concept actually for these numbers. They are not random. They're fixed with something called a parity bit. So again, that's a much more in-depth concept.
Okay.
So with such parity bit values, you're getting these ranges. So class A, it's a fixed range from 10.000 to 10.255.255.255. For class B, it's 172.16 to 172.31. And for class C, it is 192.168 to 192.168 itself. Okay. So there's a concept called parity bit. Using that parity bit concept, they have assigned these unique ranges.
Okay.
So again, much more in depth, not required currently.
It means whenever we will use class B, we have to follow this structure or pattern, right?
Yeah, definitely. You have to follow these predefined numbers itself. You cannot change this.
One more question regarding it. Why these different categorizations are made? Means do they have different kind of applications? It means if suppose I am in a lab or in a network in which I am conducting a CBT, right, and the whole structure, the whole network is in an intranet. So what kind of class I'll use for it?
As mentioned, depending on the class network size. So if you have a network of only 255 devices or lesser than that, then you go
Okay.
for class C. If you have a network where you have a necessity of connecting more than 255 devices, class C is not helpful there. Then you have to go for class B, okay, in which you can connect up to 65,000 devices. And if
Okay.
you have a necessity of connecting more than that, then you go to class A. Okay. So that
Okay.
relevance here is depending on your network size. Class C for
Okay.
small networks, for home networks or small organization networks. Class B
Okay.
and Class A for larger networks, MNC,
Okay.
ISP companies. All of those go for
Okay.
Class B and Class A. That's the
Okay, sir.
difference.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So finally, when we come to Class A, guys, you have one network portion and three host portions, which means from 10,000 all the way up to 10,255, 255, 255, it's one single network. When 10 changes to 11, when this first portion changes, which is a network portion, only then the network divides. Okay. So all the IPs from 10,000 to 10,255, 255, 255 is one single network. And in that network, you can connect a maximum of 255 into 255 into 255 IPs. That's the relevance of Class A. Class D and Class E do not have any private IPs in them. As mentioned in the last session, Class D and Class E public IPs are special public IPs. They're used by organizations such as your government websites, your military organizations, RAW, ISI, CIA, your weather forecasting services, weather broadcasting services, okay, or your research and development organizations, DRDO, etc. All of these organizations go for Class D and Class E. Okay, they're not given to the general public. For our internet access, we always get the public IPs from Class A, B, and C. Okay, and the same classes have private IPs as well. And depending on how big or small your network is, you go for each class. Class C, as mentioned, for small size networks, for networks which have less than 255 IPs. Class B and Class A for networks which have more than 255 IPs in each network. Okay. So that's the relevance of each class, guys. Okay. Is that clear, everyone? I think that is concluding the session today, guys. So we have a few more topics to learn, but again, as mentioned, these are demos. So again, today's class is the last demo actually. To learn more on this, please do register at the earliest. So our demos end today. And tomorrow, for people who have registered, we'll be talking about the next in-depth concepts on what is, again, subnet mask, what is, again, how do you assign a private IP, what is the manual method to assign that, what is the automatic method, how do you assign it from a DHCP server, what is a DNS server, what are special IPs. We'll cover all that in the next session. But again, as mentioned, the demos end today, guys. We have been taking demos for the entire week. So this is the last demo. If you have not registered already, please do register at the earliest. Okay. So yeah, that's that. Nothing further for the session today, guys. If you have any
Sir,
questions or
this is
further
my
details.
first demo session today that I joined today.
Oh,
I joined today.
okay.
So
Right, Jagdeep.
what would be the timings of the class, sir, every day?
Oh, just a second, Jagdeep. Aarti, you can exit here. You're from a different institute, right? So this concludes the demo for today's class, Aarti. I'll be sharing the audio recordings to you. Don't worry. Yeah, once you go through that, you'll have the entire context. Okay, sure. Sure, Aarti. Bye. Okay, yeah, Jagdeep, coming back to you. Again, as mentioned, the class timings are same, Jagdeep, from 7:30 to 8:30 every day from Monday to Friday, 35 duration of classes. And if you have missed out the earlier sessions, nothing to worry. All of these sessions are recorded and these first few demos are uploaded on YouTube. So you can just go to your browser and in your browser, you can just open up YouTube and do a quick search here called DurgaSoft Cybersecurity. So
Okay.
just search here
Sir, you,
DurgaSoft Cyber.
if I'm not wrong, you mentioned 35 classes, sir?
35 days, actually 28 classes, including again. So if you're removing the weekends and stuff, so 28 to 29 days of classes actually.
So,
Friday, Monday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, no classes, guys.
yeah, okay.
So these are all the recordings, guys, as mentioned. So you can go through these recordings 2 days ago, 22 hours ago, demo one, demo two. So these are all the classes we took in the last few sessions from Monday. Actually from Sunday. And again, each of these sessions are recorded. So for the first few demos, they are uploaded on YouTube. And for the registered students from tomorrow, you'll be getting the recording directly on your email, on your Google Drive. Okay. So yeah, any other questions, guys?
Hello, sir.
Hi, Ankit. Yeah.
Sir, my question is from tomorrow, the news means the session will start, or what's the correct date
No. We are going to continue on the same topics itself. For the registrars, we won't start the classes from the very beginning. From exactly where we left off today, the classes will resume from tomorrow.
Okay. And sir, what about the backlog portion?
Again, as mentioned, you have the recordings for that, Ankit. You'll have to follow the recordings. And if you still get stuck somewhere over the
Yes.
weekend, this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we'll take an extra session for that. After you go
Okay.
through the
And that will
recordings,
be
if you don't understand something, we'll take up an extra
okay.
part
And that
session.
will be taken by you only.
Yeah. Me itself,
Okay.
Ankit.
Means on
With
weekends. I'm
I
talking
will
about on
be
weekends.
completing this course. Sorry?
Okay. I'm talking about the classes which are you will take on weekends. It will be taken by you only, na?
Yeah, same. Me
Okay.
itself, Ankit.
Okay. And sir, the timing will be the same from Monday to Friday. That will be
Monday to Friday,
7:30 to
7:30
8:30.
in the evening.
Okay.
7:30 to 8:30.
Okay. And for 35 days, the session will continue.
Right, exactly.
Okay. And sir, at the end, do we get some kind of certification or something?
You'll be getting the course completion certificate, Ankit, from the
Okay.
organization. But if you're planning on writing or getting a certificate from EC Council, the organization which created the certification program or the training program, you'll have to write an
Okay.
exam for that. So it's a 125 questions MCQ question exam.
Okay.
So once you pass
Okay.
that, you'll be getting the certification from EC Council. But again,
So
quite an
from
expensive one. So if you're planning on writing it, do let me know. It's around $500 or so. We do keep getting getting these discount coupons, which can reduce the price a bit. But yeah,
okay.
other than that, if you want a certificate from the institute, you'll be getting the accredited DurgaSoft certificate for course completion.
Okay. 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 Actually, I belong to an organization. I'm an employee, right? So if I want to
Then
go for that
yeah, the company
certification,
can
I'll
sponsor
talk
the
to you.
certificate. Then I suppose
Okay. Okay. Okay, sir.
ask them if they are sponsoring it. Then it's well and good. You can get it for a much more reduced price if it's the
Okay.
company sponsoring it for you. You can write the CH certification exam itself.
Okay,
So
sir.
once this
I'll
course
talk
is done,
about
you'll
it
be ready. You'll have all the
once the course
content
is
required to
completed.
write the exam and pass it. Sorry, oh, Ankit, you were saying something?
I was saying that I will talk about it once the course gets completed.
Oh, yeah. Sure. No problem.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
No problem, guys. So yeah, that's it. Nothing further for the session, guys. I hope you enjoyed the demos. And if you want to continue the upcoming sessions, if you want to join from tomorrow, please contact the institute, guys, and please do make the registration at the earliest. As mentioned, from tomorrow, there are no more further demos. This will be our last demo today. So thanks for joining the sessions. I hope you enjoyed the demos. If you have any questions, please contact the institute, guys. Okay, I think they've dropped their numbers and the details in the chat box. And if you are joining the session for the first day today, please do refer back to the recordings which have been uploaded on YouTube by the same method I've shown you here. Okay, just search for DurgaSoft Cybersecurity and filter it by recently uploaded, and you can watch the recordings in the sequential order. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, sir.
Bye. Bye bye.